أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. About my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Tuesday after Maghrib we talk about messages for the youth, and basically it's message for every one of us, and we need to stick to these messages. We bring it from the Quran, from Sunnah Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. We give examples from the life of the prophets, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim. We give examples from the life of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim in order to adjust our life and fix the problems that we have specifically with the youth. One of the problems that we have, that some people think that you only stick to one deed and you forget about some other deeds or many other deeds. He only prays, but out of the masjid he could do a lot of bad things. But Islam is not only in the masjid, Islam is everywhere, is in all of our lives. It's a big package, we need to take all of it. That's why Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أُدْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً. أُدْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ, enter Islam, O you who believe. Enter Islam completely. Take all of the elements of Islam. Do not pick up what you like and you throw what you don't like. Don't do that. Islam is a lot of things, a lot of elements. You need to cover all of these things as much as you can. Because the idea is we don't know which deed is going to protect us in the day of judgment. فَلَابُدَّ أَن تَضْرِبْ بِسَهْمٍ فِي كُلِّ عَمَلٍ. We have to participate in every deed as much as we can, so that we have a good chance for survive. In the day of judgment, we don't know which deed is going to be accepted. We don't know which deed I did it with sincerity. We don't know which deed is going to protect me in the day of judgment. So I need to have this variety and the various deeds and multiply these deeds as much as I can. And this is the life of the prophets. This is the life of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He taught us this principle in the Quran, that do not stick to one deed. The righteous deeds are so many. So you need to cover the righteous deeds, the good deeds as much as you can, because you don't know which deed is going to be accepted, which deed is the sincere one, especially if you're still in a young age. Allah said in the Quran, لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبَلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. يعني bir, the righteousness is not only to direct yourself to the west or the east, to the east or to the west, but al-bir is something more wide than this, because Allah is replying to the people of the book when they argued regarding the changing of al-Qibla from being to the Jerusalem to al-Kaaba. So that issue which was mentioned in the previous verses from قول الله عز وجل سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها, till these verses Allah is saying this is not the righteous deed only. ولكن البر, and Allah started to show what is al-bir, what is the righteousness, the real righteousness. What is it? He said ولكن البر من آمن بالله. ما معنى آمن بالله? The real righteousness is to believe in Allah. من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر, and to believe in the hereafter, the last day, واليوم الآخر, والملائكة, and to believe in the angels, والكتاب, and the books that Allah revealed, والكتاب والنبيين, and to believe in all prophets. This is something regarding the faith. Now you come to the actions, to the deeds. من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين, and then وآتى المال على حبه. Now you come to the giving, you come to the charity. So you have something regarding the faith, regarding the heart, which is the faith, the belief, and then you come to something that shows that you are truthful in that faith. That you say, I'm a believer in Allah, I'm believing in Allah, and so on. So you have to show the evidence, which is وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. He loves money, he loves gold, he loves this, he loves that. However, he took part of that and he gave to the poor, he gave to the needy. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى, the relatives. He gave to the relatives who need. وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى, the orphans, واليتامى والمساكين and the needy ones. وابن السبيل, the ابن السبيل اللي هم wayfarer, اللي هم they are traveling and they lost their food, their stuff, and you take them as guests in your house. You give them some supply so that they can continue. You know, he came to Denver and he cannot find his bags. He lost his money. He lost his wallet. You know, and you give him a ticket. You give him some money. You can go back to your state. So وابن السبيل والسائلين, people who ask for money and they deserve that. If they do not deserve, it's not allowed to give them. They just begin scamming and so on. Do not give them, but you give those who deserve the money. والسائلين وفي الرقاب, you know, setting free the slaves. وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة, establishing the prayer and giving the obligatory charity. All of these are called al-birr, the righteousness. وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا, those who fulfill the covenants. I promise you to do something, I'll do it. I promise someone to do something, I'll do it. And you promise someone to do something, you do it. So you fulfill the covenant, you fulfill the promise. والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين, the patient ones. والصابرين في البأساء, which is during the poverty. في البأساء والضراء, those who are patient during the sick, if they are sick or if they have any disease. So they are patient and they ask in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they're waiting for ajr, and they do not reject Allah's destiny. So والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس, during even the battlefield, if they fight for the sake of Allah, they are patient. They do not escape. They fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to achieve justice, just like the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Prophet himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا, those people are the truthful ones. وأولئك هم المتقون, and they are the righteous ones. So you look at one verse, you can collect a lot of good deeds. And Allah didn't say choose one deed and just stick to it and leave the others. But try to cover the good deeds as much as you can. And when you do that, you will test one deed that you think that you're perfect in that. You're perfect in donation. You're perfect in Salatul Layl. You're perfect in reading the Quran. You're perfect in volunteering. You're perfect in some certain deeds. But this does not mean that you leave the other deeds. This is not the life of the successful people. You always look for having more good deeds. As I said at the beginning, you don't know which deed is accepted. And one day Abu Dhar came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, ayyul a'mali khayr, which deed is the best? And if you go through Sunnah al-Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, you will find many companions, they used to come to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ask him this question: ayyul amali afdal, ayyul imani khayr, ayyul amali khayr. You have like more than 12 pages of these ahadith. I called it al-afdaliyat, the best deeds, in which in these ahadith, Prophet ﷺ is asked by the companions, which deed is the best? More than 10 pages, a lot of ahadith, they asked the Prophet ﷺ, which deed is the best? Which deed is the best? And he didn't ask for only one deed. He is asking for the many deeds and the best deeds at the same time. So to work and to have various works and the best works ever, so that he gets the best reward. You always think about that. The person, the Muslim, cannot be lazy and stick to one deed and say that's okay. If he gets a disease or gets sick, he loses his deed. He has another deed he can do while he's on his bed. He can do it. He has another deed he can do it by his phone. He can do another deed in his house. May Allah protect us all. If you remember the days of COVID, how could you go to the masjid? How could you imagine life making, good deeds with other people out of your house? So you could think about something, you do it inside the house. For example, when you sit with your family and you teach them Quran, you teach them Sunnah, you give them a story about Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, you give them a story about the biography of the companions and so on, you give them the principles of the deen, you teach them something, so you do a great project, and this is called variety. And this could be a reason that you go to Jannah, subhanAllah, because you discipline your child, you know. And as I said, we don't know which deed is accepted. I always mention this story, which is the story of Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he is a scholar, he is a rich man, trader, he's a great man, he's one of the great imams of the Muslim scholars during the history of Islam. And he died, and one of the people, he saw him in the dream, so he asked them, what happened to you? He said, Allah sent me to Jannah. May Allah give us Jannah all. I say Ameen. So he said, what is the deed that made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you know, that Allah sent you to Jannah because of it? So he said, I had a lot of deeds, but the deed that Allah sent me to Jannah because of it is my journey in seeking the knowledge. So he was donating and he was taking care of the scholars at his time. For example, you're a scholar, you're a scholar, you're a scholar. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he would come and say, hey, do not work. Do not go to any business. I will do everything and I will cover everything for you. And I will provide you with everything. Can anyone do it today? You know, few people can do it, and they do not last with this good deed. When you provide the scholar with the time and the elements of searching, of teaching, of everything, and he doesn't care about the world, and he doesn't care about food or drink and what's gonna happen to his family, he's okay with all of that. He's gonna do the best, you know, to serve the religion and show the best, you know. That's why we have poor research in back homes. Why? Because we don't have the enough supply for the imam, for the scholar. For example, the scholar or the imam, one of the shuyukh or the scholars, and everyone, he has to do 2 jobs and 3 jobs in order to you know, provide his family. So Abdullah ibn Mubarak would come and would provide all the scholars, you know, at his area, and the, you know, the states, even in some other states or cities, he would send to them money. All of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he give him reward because of that. But the main reason he was sent to Jannah, that his journey in seeking the knowledge, not the donation, not his prayer at night, not reading Al-Quran, not tahdith, giving the hadith, teaching people and so on. Only the journey, just to move from a state to another state, from a city, another city. The journey sent him to Jannah, basically. And then Allah gives him great reward for the other deeds. So that's it. The Sahaba come to Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, tell us which deed is the best. فقال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام إيمان بالله وجهاد في سبيله. To believe in Allah sincerely and to strive for the sake of Allah. فقال أبو ذر فأي الرقاب خير. Now I got that question. So what about the riqab, the slaves? If I want, they had slaves at their times. If I want to give charity and set free a slave, so which one is the best? So now he's asking about another deed. He's not okay with one deed. You know, he needs another best deed, because I might not be able to do that. I might be lazy with that deed, so I need another choice. Give me another option, Ya Rasulullah. فقال له النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أنفسها عند أهلها وأغلاها ثمنا وأنفسها عند أهلها. The best slaves are the most precious ones to their people, and the highest in price. So this is the best one if you want to set free. It's in the highest in price, and it's precious, very precious to its people, so you can give as, you know, a charity, you set free that slave. فقال أبو ذر فإن لم أستطع بعض العمل. If I cannot do some of these deeds, يا رسول الله, what is the other option? فقال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام تعين ضائعا أو تصنع لأخرق. تعين ضائعا, that you help someone who need help to make a business. You know, he just needs some support to make a small business, and he's going to continue. He's good in work, but he doesn't know how to start. So you help him to start a work, to start a job, and you help them, you did great deed. And the second one, تصنع لأخرق, there is another one who cannot work, and if you supply him, if you support him, he also cannot work. So you bring him what he needs. He's staying home, he cannot do anything because of a disease, because of mental issues, whatever. So he has some problems that prevent him from working. You go to him, you knock the door, he says, Assalamu alaikum, this is for you, every month. monthly payment for that man. So this is one of the great deeds ever. And then قال أبو ذر فإن ضعفت, if I become more weak and I cannot do that. So you know, I just want you to see the variety of the deeds, that you always focus on having a lot of options. So you do not become lazy. If you have free time, you're going to use that free time in so many things. In helping your brothers in the school, in helping your brothers and sisters in the masjid, in volunteering, in donating, in teaching some kids coming to the masjid and reading Quran, Salat al-Layl, doing a lot of deeds, that you can think about. Just, be motivated to do more deeds and various deeds. فقال فإن ضعفت, if I become more weak يا رسول الله, what shall I do? فقال له النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام تدع الناس من الشر تدع الناس من شرك فإن هذا صدقة من الله على نفسك, أو كما قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. So you stop thinking about any evil things. Protect people from the evil side in your personality. So now if you're gonna hurt them, if you're gonna react regarding anything you see in front of you, you come to the masjid, for example, and you like this or you don't like that. So in order not to be aggressive in changing anything, just be quiet. Do not hurt people. Do not hurt their feelings. Do not hurt their hearts. And protect yourself and people from the evil side in your personality. Just be quiet. Be quiet. لذلك يقولون من صمت نجا. The person who's mostly silent, doesn't talk much, naja, he will survive. Because this tongue, makes people do a lot of mistakes when they talk much. من كثر كلامه كثر خطأه ومن قل كلامه قل خطأه. The one who speaks a lot, he will do a lot of mistakes. And the one who speaks few words, he will do lesser mistakes. So that's why he said to him, okay, you cannot do any of these. Okay, anything comes to your mind, to your heart, to react regarding that thing in a bad way, bitter way, don't do it. Protect people from the evil side in your personality. Because this is going to be a charity from Allah that He gives to you on yourself. تتصدق على نفسك. When you give donation to people, when you give charity to people, now when you stop the evil, and you can control the evil part in your personality, when you control the anger, the hatred, for example, when you control yourself in that regard, so you make a sadaqah on yourself. That you give the sadaqah and you take it at the same time, which is a good deed, and you take reward for that regard. This hadith shows us that we need to think about the multiple deeds, and we need to have various deeds. We don't know which deed is going to be accepted. We don't know which deed is going to be done with sincerity. So we do our best to do the best of us in order to have the protection and the survive in the day of judgment. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يهدينا وأن يهدي بنا وأن يجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم خذ بنا وصينا إليك أخذ الكرام عليك. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم أنجي إخواننا في فلسطين، في غزة، في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا. اللهم ارفع عن إخواننا الحصار، ارفع عنهم البلاء يا رب العالمين، وأنجهم بفضلك ومنك وجودك يا أكرم الأكرمين ويا أرحم الراحمين. وأنجي إخواننا المستضعفين في لبنان وفي السودان وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين. وأحد صفوف المسلمين واجمع شملنا وردنا إلى دينك مردا جميلا. اللهم من أراد الإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه لكل خير، ومن أراد الإسلام والمسلمين سوءا فاجعل تدبيره تدميره، واجعل دائرة السوء تدور عليه، واكفناه بما شئت وكيف شئت إنك على كل شيء قدير. وصل اللهم بارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والحمد لله رب العالمين.